Hi, my name is Brett Govreau with OMEGA Custom Tackle. I'm here to talk to you about the OMEGA Finesse Jig and the OMEGA Pitching Jig. I'm going to see if I can show you a few things that'll help put more fish in the boat. Today we're fishing the 7/16 OMEGA Pitching Jig. I'm throwing a green-orange with a kind of a paddle tail trailer. I like using this jig in the spring, especially when I'm fishing behind and underneath boat docks, because it skips really well. It comes across the water and you can get a nice quiet entry, and it's just an awesome jig. And I like to throw, the water's pretty clear here, so I generally like to throw green-orange because that's pretty much the color of crawdads, and it seems to work really well. It's beginning of April. It's water temperature is 50 degrees. These fish are starting to pre-spawn hard and move up. They're going to be thinking about spawning here. Water warms up a little bit, so that ought to be a perfect day for fishing that jig. And when you're skipping a jig, you're trying to get it back under boat docks, you can see there's a couple ropes up here, and it's important that you try to make a quiet entry, because there's not much water here, and if you go banging around and making a bunch of noise, you're probably going to spook the fish out. So you want to try to keep the jig low to the water and let it kind of glide across the surface, and kind of skip real lightly across the top of the surface. Just kind of like that, nice quiet entry, didn't make much splash. When choosing a jig, you don't need every color, but you do need a few basic colors, because certain colors work on certain types of conditions. Today we got high skies, clear lake. You want to throw, my favorite is this green-orange. Springtime, the crawdads are green-orange. Why not match the color of the bait that you're trying to imitate? Other colors that work good in clear water are our watermelon candy and our Okeechobee craw. And if it gets a little cloudy or you get into some dirtier water, some of my favorites are our Texas craw and our black and blue. There he is. He's got me hung up. He's still on there, I can feel him. Sometimes you just gotta let him swim out. Can't tell if it's a good fish. I don't feel him anymore. They got me wrapped up in a tree. I want to run the boat into the dock. Well, was he on there? He was. He's got me wrapped up good. There he is. That fish was buried in that brush pile. Well, he wanted that jig though, right in the roof of the mouth. He's got some crawdad tentacles sticking out of his gullet. He's been eating good. That looks like a crawdad right there. Got the orange pinchers. Not a giant by any means, but a fat little fish. You can tell he's been feeding good. Looking back in the water. There he goes. We've had about 3 days of rain and clouds and just nasty weather. It's been miserable the last 3 days. So we've got one extreme to the other. We got bright bluebird skies, not a lick of wind. I mean, it's slick as snot right here, and this jig is just awesome for fishing in tough conditions with the this Finesse jig. It's got a smaller skirt, only a half collared skirt, so it's a little smaller profile. A lot of times when it's sunny and clear skies after a front, fishing can get pretty darn tough. So you got to downsize your baits and fish just a little smaller. And when you got this water that's real slick like this, you want to make sure you got a quiet entry. You want to try to pitch it in there and keep the bait low to the water and keep your splash down to a minimum. Some good rock down there. This jig is excellent through the rocks. It's got that pointed head with a little flat spot on it, and it comes to those rocks and just sits on that flat spot and sits straight up in the air, just like a crawdad would. It's the most natural looking jig I've ever used. Oh, that's a good one. Swimming right at the boat. Oh, that's good fish. Oh, look at that. Right in the roof of the mouth. That's exactly where you want them. 99 times out of 100, you stick a fish there, the jig's not going to come out. The way this head's designed, stands straight up, so most of the time they come in behind it and eat it, that hook's going to shoot straight through the roof of the mouth. It's a good fat quality fish. I'd say it's 4 pounds, maybe a little bigger. Oh. Dance for me. It's getting late in the afternoon. The sun's up high as it's going to get. The water's super clear here, so you want to make sure at this point in the day that you want to stay away from the bank, because the fish have been fairly shallow, and you get up there in this clear water this time of day, you're going to spook them out of there. So this is a point in the day where you want to be casting the jig, not pitching it, because it's too far to pitch, so you want to make sure you cast it. I like to cast sidearm because it keeps the bait lower to the water. Little guy. Right through the roof of the mouth. There he is. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Boy, he had that jig way down in his mouth. Nice fat little fish right there. Good solid tournament keeper. He's got crawdad tentacles sticking out of his gullet. Oh, I just broke it off. That's not a fun day of fishing when that happens.